Hey guys, happy holidays. It's about a week away from Christmas. And I just wanted to come into the garage with you today and show you my workbench and my tools and kind of what I've been working on here the past year. Now this doesn't really have a whole lot to do with cob or earthen construction, but it is all going to integrate with my buildings in the future. So I'm going to show you some of the experiments and little projects I've been doing and sort of tell you about my larger plans for what I'm doing here. So to preface, I do apologize for the dirty workbench. I haven't cleaned it in quite a while. As you can see, there's stuff all over the place. But I'm going to flip the camera around here and I'm going to kind of show you some of these projects. So one of the larger projects I worked on recently was this concrete sink. So this was the first one I've ever done. It turned out okay. I had some issues with it. When I poured it, the drain hole piece moved over about 1 inch. So it's not perfect. I'm not sure what I'll do with it, but it was a great learning experience. And I'm not really sure if I'm going to do more sinks and things like that. What I think I'll really do with this knowledge is being able to make whatever shape bricks or stones that I need. So I'm thinking of a future project where I'll make really large blocks. They'll be made out of concrete, but they'll be sort of to mimic stone because I don't have access to that much stone. So I can make basically any shape block that I want and then, you know, make it into structures or whatever. So for me, it's a lot cheaper and more accessible than stone. And what I'll do is, like for example, if I had a big block this big, I could cast a mold over it. So I'd have a mold, silicone mold that I just pour the concrete into and then continue to replicate the blocks. So let me show you what I've been doing over here, making these bricks and these molds. So I started off, this was my first experiment making bricks. So I made a really basic brick mold here, just out of wood. And it didn't work very well, but this was the first experiment. So what I did was I closed up the box. Sorry, trying to do this with one hand. So I'd have this little box, and then I'd pour concrete in there, level it off, let it dry, then I'd open the box and out come these bricks. And this one I had a little bit of a design to it. So that was my first brick experiment, creating bricks. Now what I did next, which took a long time to produce, but it did work out really well. So basically what I did is I took, let me see if I got a raw brick here. Well, these are the raw bricks basically. So I'd take a raw brick and then I'd carve it into the shape that I wanted. So I made a couple various shapes. And I carved these with stone chisels. So I had various chisels, and I did do some damage to my chisels working with the bricks. I knew that would happen, but overall it hasn't been a real loss. I can still use those for sure. Just need to grind them down a little bit. And so anyway, I used those, and then I used a die grinder here. So this has right now it has a diamond tip bit on it, and you can change out the bits. It's a really good tool. This is a Makita die grinder. I think it's about $100 for one of these. So what I do is I grind the bricks to shape using that. So as you can see here, I've got a couple different shapes and sizes. And then what I did was, make a little room here. What I did was I made these molds. So as you can see, I've got different brick shapes here for the different molds. So once the molds are made, you just pour the concrete in, let it dry, and then out come the bricks. So I've got several bricks over here that I made using different mixture ratios. Now these white ones I like probably the most right now. These were made out of white Portland cement and sand, basically. And then here I've got actually an earthen mix. I can't remember exactly what I did. This is probably, it's majority still concrete, but there is some earth mix in there. It mostly just gives the earth tone color though. So these are concrete. Now I can mass produce these bricks, basically whatever shape I want. And then I've got all kinds of different design combinations to go with these. Here I've just started one. This is just a very beginning. I've actually designed some really intricate brickwork with these same brick shapes in SketchUp, and I might show you that sometime. So anyway, that's kind of the big thing I've been working on this year, is casting concrete into various shapes for bricks and blocks and faux stone, because I love working with stone, but stone for me is not super accessible. It's more expensive, and yeah, so concrete's more accessible. I can do, there's a lot of creativity that you can do with it, and then making these molds like this, which I figured out this year, is just super useful, because I can just replicate these shapes rather than having to carve every single brick individually, which would take forever. Like this brick right here, for example, took me at least 2 hours to carve. So trying to carve every brick or every stone is just way too much work and is not practical for what I'm trying to achieve here. So in this case, concrete really helps out a lot. So I just make these molds to whatever shape that I carve. Let's see what else we got here that's interesting. This is actually the rammed earth formwork sitting back here. I made a new little formwork we use at the workshops. All this Polytech stuff here, release agents and all that. This is all the stuff required to make these silicone molds. So you basically get it all in a tub. It's like a liquid. You mix the two liquids together and you pour it over the brick or whatever inside of a form, and then it dries, and then you have your mold at the end. So let's see, what else we got here? Okay, got some little test pieces I made here. This one says 1/3 sand, 1/3 clay, 1/3 cement. So that must be what these bricks are made out of here, just to give you an idea. And yeah, I did some ratio tests with these, and then I actually made a couple bowls out of concrete. So this one came out real nice. I polished it up. So I have learned how to make bowls as well. I've got a mold here to make a little plate, a little tray. Haven't actually used that one yet. Here's another test bowl I did. And then over here, let me show you this one. It's pretty interesting. Bring it over in the light. So this is actually an earth based bowl. So it is majority concrete. I think it's the same as this one, 1/3 clay. But I did add the straw on the exterior, so it has a really nice cob look to it. It actually turned out really pretty, and then I polished it and waxed it. So I'm figuring if I just put a hole in here, it could be used as a planter outside. But yeah, that one turned out real nice. That was just an experiment, but quite a nice end product there. So let's see what else I've got here. Yeah, I've just made a mess lately. I haven't cleaned it up yet. I am going to be making more of these molds pretty soon, and then hopefully putting together a big display of the brick combinations. And back here I've got a piece of limestone I carved this past year. I used the die grinder to do all of this intricate carving on there. And I've got another limestone sculpture going on here. It's going to eventually turn into a crow. You can sort of see its head and beak there and wing. And I actually made this table this past year as well. This is my stone carving table, and this workbench I made this past year too. This it's basically made out of 2x4s and plywood, and cost about $100 in total for materials. Not very expensive. So yeah, I can show you. I guess I showed you these, my stone chisels. I've got the die grinder bits in here. So these are the, I forget what they are, some kind of metal, these ones, and then here are the diamond tipped die grinder bits. These actually work a lot better for carving the bricks. Those concrete bricks, these raw ones here, these are really hard. So yeah, I've got a couple wood chisels back there. This is actually the form that I use to make my rubber molds. It's taken apart at the moment, but basically I have a setup here, if I can get it for you. Got a setup here to where basically I can make two molds at a time. So you put the brick in here, and then you pour the mold material around it, let it dry, remove the forms, get the brick out of the center, and then you've got your molds. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got going on here at my little workbench. Just doing stone carving and concrete brick block creation. So trying to get as creative as I can with concrete molding, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Had to think about the process a lot, but it's been very successful so far, and I'm really hoping to take these projects to a larger scale. I've designed out some really cool stuff with these bricks in SketchUp in 3D, so maybe I'll show you guys that sometime. But yeah, apart from that, just continuing with the projects here. As far as my stuff at home goes, trying to think of new things. And yeah, so I hope you all have a good holiday season. And I do have my cob courses on sale again this week for the holidays. They're about 90% off, so you can get all my video courses for $50 this week. So I'll leave a link down below. So if you have any interest in cob or rammed earth or adobe, conventional construction, even straw bale, any kind of natural building or construction, these courses are really going to help you out. I've got like probably like 16 to 17 hours of videos included. It's got my 2019 videos in there as well, so lots of new stuff. Probably 10 hands-on workshops of material and information. So really awesome value if you want to pick that up this week. Again, links down below, it's $50. And yeah, so as for me, just continuing the building journey. There's always new stuff to learn as far as construction and building. Still have plans to build several cob rammed earth structures in the future. That's kind of my long-term goal. Probably going to rent them out as Airbnbs or something like that. They're going to really display the capabilities of earth and construction, and then I'm going to implement things with stone and concrete to really add a unique flair of creativity to it. So yeah, just continuing on with my stuff and making incremental progress. So I hope you all are doing well, and again, enjoy your holidays. I will talk to you soon.